Some days are hard to explain with words. Good Friday is one of those days. Because here we are, remembering a day marked by betrayal, injustice, torture, and death, and we still call it good. On this day, an innocent man who had never done anything deceitful, hurtful, or wrong is mocked, beaten, nailed to a Roman cross, and left for dead. The sky darkens, the earth shakes, his friends scatter to distance themselves. His enemies celebrate and gloat. His mother quietly weeps. And yet this day, this brutal, terrible, haunting day is the most hope-filled day in all of history. The worst thing that ever happened is also the best thing that ever happened. That's the irony and the beauty of Good Friday. Here's the story as John tells it. So they took Jesus, and he went out bearing his own cross to the place called the place of a skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on either side, and Jesus between them. Pilate also wrote an inscription and put it on the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." Many of the Jews read this inscription, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Aramaic, in Latin, and in Greek. So the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews, but rather this man said, 'I am King of the Jews.'" Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." That's John 19. Jesus is raised up on the cross, exposed and humiliated for all to see. The soldiers divide his clothes, his mother Mary stands nearby, and then John continues. After this, Jesus, knowing that all was now finished, said to fulfill the scriptures, "I thirst." A jar full of sour wine stood there, so they put a sponge full of the sour wine on a hyssop branch and held it to Jesus' mouth. When Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, "It is finished." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. That's also from John 19. These are not words of surrender, they are words of completion. Jesus doesn't say, "I am finished." He says, "It is finished." Mission accomplished. The sins of the world, yours, mine, and the whole collective ache of humanity from every nation, tribe, tongue, and generation are carried into his body. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him. This is why Christians dare to call Good Friday good and treat the cross, which was the Roman version of an electric chair or lethal injection chamber, as life-giving and beautiful. The cross is on the one hand gruesome, and on the other hand the path to forgiveness, warmth, welcome, and life eternal. Let's listen to Isaiah 53, written 700 years before the cross happened. Isaiah said, "Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace. And with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all." That's Isaiah 53. The worst thing that the collective of human beings could do, crucify the Son of God, became the very thing God used to rescue the world from itself. This is an otherworldly kind of love. It's a love that doesn't flinch or falter. It's a love that doesn't wait for us to clean ourselves up, or believe all the right things, or pull everything together. This is a love that goes first. Corrie ten Boom knew something about this kind of love. During World War II, she and her family hid Jews in their home. Eventually, they were caught. Corrie and her sister Betsy, who were Christians, were sent to Ravensbrück concentration camp, where Betsy ended up dying. Years later, Corrie spoke at a church in Munich. After the service, a man came forward. She recognized him immediately as one of the cruel guards from Ravensbrück. He reached out his hand to her and said, "Thank you for your message, Fräulein. To think that, as you say, he has washed my sins away. But will you forgive me?" Corrie hesitated. Everything in her froze. She remembered the room where her sister died. She remembered the calculated cruelty in this same man's eyes as he committed horrific acts against the detainees. She prayed silently, "Jesus, I cannot forgive him. Give me your forgiveness." She extended her hand, and in that moment, she said, a healing warmth flooded my whole being. I grasped his hand, and I said, "I forgive you, brother, with all my heart." She later reflected, forgiveness is not an emotion. Forgiveness is an act of the will, and the will can function regardless of the temperature of the heart. This is the kind of reality that the cross makes possible for us. Not just reconciliation and peace with God, but reconciliation and peace with each other, even with our enemies. It's the kind of forgiveness that goes far beyond what we are capable of manufacturing on our own. Fleming Rutledge puts it like this: the crucifixion is not a tragic ending to an otherwise great life. It's not a symbol of noble martyrdom. It's not a vague metaphor for sacrifice. The crucifixion is the shocking, necessary, and victorious intervention of God into a world of sin and death. It's God's way of saying, this is how far I will go to rescue you. That's from her book, The Crucifixion. At the cross, the perfect Son of God becomes the substitute for the imperfect sons and daughters of earth. The judge takes the judgment, the righteous in the place of the unrighteous, the healer for the wounded, the creator for the created. If you ever doubt God's love, you don't have to look inside yourself, at the circumstances of your life, or at the things that are happening in the world. None of these things can give an accurate measure of the love of God toward you. Instead, to get an accurate read on God's love, we look to the cross. There on the cross of Christ, the window panes of the sinner's soul, smudged by shame, clouded by regret, are gently scrubbed clean by grace. Not destroyed, not traded in for a more virtuous model. Restored. Color and light reappear. The beauty and loyalty of Jesus toward us was always there, and his goodness and mercy were always following us. It just needed to be uncovered. Father, forgive them, Jesus says from the cross, for they do not know what they do. That's in Luke 23. His prayer was not just for the soldiers, not just for the crowds, it was also for us. The book of Hebrews reminds us that even today, Jesus is at the right hand of the Father, always living to intercede for us. That's Hebrews 7, verse 25. When Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them," he prayed as nails were being driven into his hands. Good Friday is not about divine retribution. It's about divine mercy. So how do we respond? What do we do with this? One of my favorite hymns answers this question much better than I ever could. Here's what to do. Come ye sinners, poor and needy, weak and wounded, sick and sore. Jesus, ready, stands to save you, full of pity, joined with power. He is able, he is able, he is willing, doubt no more. Let not conscience make you linger, nor of fitness fondly dream. All the fitness he requires is to feel your need of him. That's the answer. The words of Jesus from the cross were, "It is finished." There's nothing for us to earn, nothing for us to prove, nothing for us to hide. There's only grace and mercy for us to receive. And from there, a life-giving path to follow as Jesus warmly invites us to come and follow him. So today, if you're tired, if you feel too far gone for grace, if the guilt or the grief or the discouragement feels too heavy for you to carry, the cross of Jesus says you are not beyond the reach of love. You are firmly in the grip of love. Good Friday is the day heaven nourished the earth with the blood and tears of the Son of God. This is the worst day that ever happened that became the best day that ever happened. And that's why we call this day good. If any of this was helpful for you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel so you won't miss future teachings. Also, please share it with friends or family that you think could benefit from it. Thanks for joining me here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.